Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to today's press conference. The Bulldogs are coming off their bye. We'll play host to number 22 VMI this Saturday at 2 o'clock in the Military Classic of the South. Here to talk about the Bulldogs, head coach Brent Thompson.
Thank you, John. Afternoon. I'll go back to the North Greenville game since we didn't have a press conference last week and just talk about some of the things that we did well and some of the things that we still need to improve on. I thought from the opening kickoff we played really fast. We set the tone. We kept the ball in front of us on defense. We forced a punt there in the first drive, which is good. And then really the first play from scrimmage on offense set up the second play from scrimmage, which was a big play for us. And I think from then on, we really had the momentum. We kept the momentum. And all the way up to about the third quarter. In the third quarter, I thought we backed off the gas a little bit. And one of the things that we can improve on is having the ability to continue to lay down on the gas when we've got the opportunity to keep scoring a little bit on offense and create a little bit of momentum on our side. So North Greenville game was good. It's behind us. The bye week last week, I don't think that we could have had a better game coming up than the VMI game. Number one, VMI is a very good team, so a little bit of extra prep time helps. Number two is it'll hold our attention for 2 straight weeks, which it has. We practiced Sunday of last week and then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday of last week. We did a little bit of preparation on VMI, but we did a lot of preparation on ourselves and things that we needed to do better, tackle better, do a little bit of blocking, do a little bit of live against each other, play faster, play with a little bit more tempo, play with a little bit more sense of urgency, things that we did well in North Greenville, but may have lacked at times against Coastal and may have lacked a lot against Charleston Southern. So that was a good week. It was a good, solid week for us to prepare for both of those 2 situations that are going to come up throughout the rest of the year. We are playing for the Shaco this year. We do have a very, very good VMI football team coming in. They've got a couple of good offensive weapons, I think. They're solid on defense. They play good fundamental football. I think they play good team football, is when one side is down, the other side is up. When they give up a touchdown, they get one right back. They jump out on leads on teams, and I think they're playing with a lot of confidence coming out of last spring. Gained a lot of confidence no matter who the quarterback is in there. They've played 2 different quarterbacks. Due to injury, the backup, the Ironside kid, comes in and does just about as good a job as a backup quarterback can do. So we've got a work cut out for us. What I expect is that we're going to come out, play with a lot of emotion, and get the Shaco back in our hands. Questions?
Any real motivation you need to give any pep talk you got to give these guys for the Shaco? I mean, most of these guys, have been waiting to get that Tony Trophy back.
Yeah, I don't think so. We've had a lot of motivation really the last 2 years, and really last year didn't really go our way. We had our opportunities, I think, but we kind of trailed the whole game. And VMI did a good job last year, and then they certainly had a good bulk of it in the spring last year. But what we need to do is focus on ourselves and do what we do best, both offensively and defensively, to make sure that we can be successful against those guys.
Could be seeing your 3rd different VMI quarterback in 3 years. Is it kind of remarkable? He keeps pulling these 6'3" quarterbacks who are pretty good.
I think their system quarterbacks, they do a really good job as they can move. They've got the ability to the added dimension that these guys have is they've got good wide receivers. They put the ball where it needs to be, but the added dimension is the run game. Number one, the running back's very good, had a good day yesterday, but also they can make you respect the quarterback run game just as equally. And I think the latest 2 quarterbacks, I think they do run fairly well, whether it's the option game or whether it's the read game or whether it's the RPO game. They can hurt you in a lot of different ways.
They also, as you mentioned, they run the ball. I think the kid had about a 180 against Wofford last week. What kind of stress does that balance?
It's a lot of stress right there. It's a box. It's a numbers. You've got to have enough guys in the box or near the box to be able to stop the run game. They're going to spread you out enough, and this is the whole spread concept. And that is, if those guys can get you out of the box, they're going to run the ball, and if they keep you in the box, they're going to be able to throw the football on you. So you've got to have that delicate balance of keeping guys close enough to the box to be able to stop the run and then be able to defend the pass as well, which is that's a stress in and of itself, and it's not a whole lot different than what we do. They just do it differently. They set up the run game with their pass game, and we just got to do it in reverse.
What has impressed you about the job Coach Walkenheim has done? He really had no tradition of winning at all at VMI, at a school similar to yours. The way he's built
Well, the number one thing is he found a system that works and he sticks with it, and he's recruited to it, both sides of the ball. You know, he's not exactly conventional on defense either, and he's not exactly conventional on offense either. So, and those are what you have to do. You have to be a little bit different. You have to be creative in your recruiting and who you're recruiting, and what you can get and what you can keep within your program. And he's done a good job. He's recruited to his system, and he's retained those guys. He's recruited and retained those guys, because if you look at it, he's playing with 4 or 5 seniors, and he's playing with a bunch of juniors on the defensive side, and the same thing on the offensive side. So they've done a good job. He's done a good job there of being able to find the guys and find what works. Now, it took him a few years to find it, but once he did find it, he's done a good job with it.
What's different about their defense?
Well, they're a bare structured front, which you don't see too many truly bare defenses. You see a lot of teams that play bare, that have bare packages, but it's, for the most part, it's what they do. It's unconventional to most teams that you'll see. It's somewhere in between a 3-down front. They can get into a 4-down front. They move the front quite a bit. He'll pressure you, plays a little bit more man than usual, but other than that, I think they play it really well.
I know against North Greenville, you guys were able to jump out to an early lead. It kind of helped you when it came to balancing your offensive attack. The first 2 weeks, you're playing from behind. How important is it with an offense like VMI to be able to get out to a hot start and potentially get a lead early?
Well, it's the number one thing is just create momentum and confidence in it. And as I told you, that's what VMI is playing with. And that was our number one goal going into the North Greenville game, is to come out and play with some confidence. But we've got to also realize that if we get down, we're going to be okay. We just got to settle in and don't get down by too many like we did against Charleston Southern. If you can just hang in there and go toe-to-toe with them, force a couple punts, keep the ball in front of you, that'll be the key to success for us, especially in the first half.
What is the status of Clay or any of the other backs that may have missed the first 3 weeks?
Clay will be probably doubtful. Logan Billings will be questionable. And obviously Ramsey will be out.
Obviously, you kind of touched on in your opening statement, kind of how much, trying to think of proper English, how much better was it going into the bye week off that win?
It was a lot better. It was certainly not ideal. We would much rather have at least another win or so going into it, but it made the week that much more interesting, that much more fun there. But we also had the ability to recognize what we didn't do so well against North Greenville and what we didn't do so well against Charleston Southern and Coastal, and prepare for that. And as I said, I think VMI is a school that can keep our attention right now.
How important will it be to keep Jacob Harris under control, and what can you do to try to do that?
Well, last year we did a fairly decent job with it, and there's the thing about Jacob is we've had him well covered, and we had him well covered at times, and he still can make some really great catches. He's got great body control, good ball skills, and he can go up and get the football, and he can stretch you a little bit. So he's always a guy that you got to pay attention for where he is on the field, and if you can find the matchup that you like before they find the matchup that they like, I think that's the key to really stopping him.
Do you feel like you compete against VMI for a lot of kids?
We typically don't, and a couple things is just regionally they're more Virginia driven than we are. We do have a couple of guys from the state of Virginia, but we don't go too far up there usually, number one. Number two is just their system of offense is a little bit different. We've had a couple of guys that we have gone against, maybe more so on the defensive side than anything.
Obviously, you guys are playing for the Shaco Saturday, but it's the first conference game as well. Just your thoughts on that?
Yeah, thoughts of this is you don't know where everybody is. You're starting to see things trickle down, and you're starting to see things shake out a little bit now that more teams are playing within the conference. So beyond this week, it'll be interesting to see how things kind of, as this is week 2 for most of the conference play, it'll be interesting to see where everybody truly is and how good we really are and as well as some of the other teams in the conference are.
Kind of going off of that, just what have you seen from the SoCon through some of these non-conference slates, and how do you think it kind of lines up as a conference going into late September, early October?
I think we're strong. I think you're starting to see a lot of teams come around, and Jeff and I were just talking about it right there. Mercer's a very good football team, and they're a team that I think is on the rise right now. Western, even though they've scored a bunch of points. I think they played Sanford really, really tight. They had a tough game against Gardner-Webb. I mean, there's there's a team that was at the bottom. I think they could be probably a team that's going to get better as the year goes on with a new coach in there. And then it probably remains to be seen at Wofford and Furman. At Wofford, I haven't seen anything in Furman, but Wofford, just watching them against VMI, had their opportunities. They had a couple of chances within in the red zone, turned it over, got stopped on fourth down, things like that. That could have been a different football game on Saturday. So they still have a chance to be a pretty good football team down the line here as well, being that they changed their offensive system. So Sanford's going to be good. They're always going to have guys. They're always going to be a pretty good athletic football team as well. And then the most dangerous teams are probably Chattanooga and East Tennessee. I think East Tennessee is a really good team, and Chattanooga is always a very dangerous team.
I know Jeff asked about VMI's defense. I know you've been impressed with Jay's ability to throw downfield so far this season. Any more plans to maybe implement some more passing into this offense?
Each week we've got to have our shots down the field. Each week we've got to be good at what we're trying to accomplish and what we're trying to get done. And if I can focus on that with him, we'll put it all together eventually. But really, we're focusing on this is the throw that we have to make this week. This is the spot where it's got to be. This is where you're looking at. And if we can do that with about 5 or 6 really good pass plays in our minds each week, we'll eventually get him to the point where we can just throw anything at him and being able to run it.
What are your thoughts on Jalen through the first 3 games and now heading into conference play? How's he done and where does he need to get better?
I thought he's done really well of managing the games. He's gotten us in and out of some really good plays and really in and out of some really bad plays. Well, the one thing that I do think he can continue to get better at, and that is just where do we go in the pass game? Where do we really want to see this ball go? Where are they over supporting or over rotating at? If we can do that, it adds that extra dimension of the game that we really, really need at this point. And I do think we have got good wide receivers between Ryan and Raleigh. We've got guys that can catch it, guys that can go up and get it, guys that can stretch the field a little bit. So if we can continue to point out where the ball needs to be in a particular play at a particular time, and he sees it, it'd be pretty good. The most impressive thing that I saw him do, which is progress for us, which is a tough throw for us to make, was the wheel route that he made just before, in the North Greenville game, just before the half. I mean, we went down in 4 to 5 plays and put together a pretty good drive from the 10 or 12 yard line, somewhere in that range, to where we scored, and we scored fairly quickly just before the half, which is always our goal. But the play that started that off, we had one run play and then we threw the ball, was a wheel route. That's a tight throw that he had to make. He knew where it was. It was a throw that we really hadn't worked on a whole lot leading up to that, but it should be a staple of our offense. And he hit it and he made it, and that showed a sign of progress for us. So we've got to continue to improve on those.
Have you kept the spot open for the Shako somewhere in the office? Or?
Right now it's being occupied by the Big Dog Trophy, but I'll move that Big Dog Trophy over and we'll have the Shako ready to go right there.
I'm sure you touched on this before, but with you going to a military school yourself, kind of what is this game like for you?
Well, it's fun, especially when they bring their cadets and up against our cadets up there. It's really it makes for a great environment. Same thing last a couple times ago when we brought our cadets up there. It's interesting. You've got 2 teams that really are very, very similar. They may not like each other on the field, but we've got a lot of respect for each other. For what we do every single day, our guys are essentially built the same. You've got a pretty good understanding of what their daily life is like. Not that much different from ours at Norwich or those guys down here at the Citadel as well. It's a demanding lifestyle. It's something that you choose, and when you choose it, you understand that lifestyle. So there is a great admiration and respect for what those guys go through, and I'm glad to see that they're doing well, and hopefully we can get a win out of it this weekend. All right, thank you guys. Have a good week.